Welcome to Set Life. I'm Amber Buto, sitting with
Kelly Leger.
And this is so bizarre, right?
Yeah, it's so bizarre.
Okay, there is a time and a place for everything, and today's time and place is for you to sit beside me instead of across from me.
I thought I was in trouble.
Yeah,
You
well,
sounded like, oh, you're my mom. You were like, there's a time and a place for everything,
Yes.
and this is not that time. And I don't know what you're about to say to me.
Well, now we're going to introduce our guests that we have with us today because we are so delighted to hear their stories. We get to welcome back an old friend, and we get to welcome a new friend.
Yes.
So,
Great.
welcome Sara and Skeeta.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Good to be
Welcome to the show. So now that we've had our own debacle here of like him having to sit on this side, this
So
is going to be so
weird.
weird.
Right.
Like I'm going to have to
So
look
weird.
this way now at you.
It's like I'm in a different set altogether. It's just odd.
Well, you kind of are because you're on you're on a different side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We brought the change.
here.
Yeah.
Yes.
You
Yeah,
did.
we
You brought
did.
the change.
I like it.
Yeah,
Thank
I do
you
too.
for that.
I do too.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's,
I
I
love
like
this.
the women sitting here. And
Yeah.
hey,
See?
all right.
Yeah.
See,
Twinning right there.
Good, and the eye contact's going to be great. I feel
gonna be
like
great.
this is going to be
Those
good.
gorgeous eyes. Like,
Yeah,
boom.
this is going to be great.
I love her eyes, y'all.
Well, thank you for coming.
Yes.
And let's start with, because you're new to the show, Sarah's been on the show, which we
right.
adore. So let's hear who you are, where did you start, and when did you get into the industry?
All right. My name is Skeeta Jenkins. I'm originally from Louisiana.
All
Oh, I hear it. I hear it.
right.
And now I live in Temple, Texas.
Uh-huh.
I've been acting for about a little over 8 years. About 8, close to 9 years ago, Michael Clark Duncan passed away. If you watch The Green Mile, Big Michael.
Yes.
So I got started because some people think he and I resemble each other.
Okay.
And that's kind of how I got started. My first time on set, it was a cameo role for him.
Yeah.
And I just enjoyed what I was doing, loved it. And from that point on, I started going to classes. I always wanted to do it, just didn't know how to do it. And it kind of fell in my lap. So I'm
Wow.
pretty blessed by that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. So you've been in a few films.
A few, yeah.
Yeah. And we were just talking before it got started that the strike's still going on.
It's still going on.
Mm-hmm.
So I won't basically promote the film. I'll just say, hey, there's this film,
Yes,
and I may or may not be in it.
that's right. That's right.
I heard it was really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. That's awesome. Okay, so Sara, since the last time we talked, you've launched an album.
Oh,
I have. Yes.
Yep.
Sure have. Yeah.
Albums came out. You were working on a film.
I was working on a film, and I'm trying to remember which
Uh-huh.
one it
Wow.
was at the time. Yes, and then a series I think was the next shebang.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you were doing also something with your sister.
Yes.
Yes.
Always trying to bring because whenever they need both, and it works out quite perfectly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Always.
So, what has been your what are you doing now, and what's been your kind of favorite thing? Is it the music thing going? Is the acting thing going?
Oh man, this is actually like really tough. Beautiful question, Amber. Always. So to be quite honest with you, I love it all, and I think I mentioned before kind of what got me into what I'm doing now with acting. But essentially, I started off musical theater, as you know, and then that was like 10, 15 years down the line. And I always thought I was going to be music. I was going to be a singer. I was going to just go full throttle. But I started writing when I was in 5th grade.
Yeah.
So I always thought it was going to be, singing, songwriting. And so that's always been a baby of mine, like my love, my start, my thing. And so I would say I only got into film maybe like 5 years ago.
Oh.
And I just kind of transcended into film off of theater. And very different, very intimate. Very intimate setting, very different style acting. So, and performing is very big. It's very loud. Your mic goes out. You gotta follow through with thousands of people in the audience. You gotta make it happen. But film's very organic, very raw, very very human. I would say, and I love it. So if I had to choose my favorite right now, I would say being able to be authentically me. is being able to write and be able to follow through with characters in film that tell stories that would otherwise be untold. And that's a part of who I am. And in doing that, I think the songwriting and the acting on film so far in present day are my true loves. You know, and I never say never to go back to theater.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Wow.
My absolute favorite. So the more authentic I can be, the more authentically me I can be and resonate with that and spread love and light, then that's where I prefer the most to be at. So there you go.
Yeah. That's really good. Well, I mean, Kelly, you've directed all kinds of things. So you and actors are like, okay, writers and actors are like your favorite conversations here because this is like your whole world as a director, right?
Yeah, it is. It is. I guess I've done my path. I wouldn't say it's ended. I was going to say my path ended and it's not over. I'm still in this thing. I'm still in this thing. My current path has led me to directing all these years. But I got my start though as an actor, and I got my start, you know, in music. I had a lot of starts and all that led me to the place as a director, and of course all of those has made me a better director because I know how to communicate with an actor. I know how to work with a writer. I know how to work with a composer. I speak the music language. I know how to, to do all those things. But I also got my start in the theater. And Louisiana, all my family's from Louisiana.
All right.
And so like they're from Crowley and then deep. Like the further you get down in Louisiana, so we always say my name's Leger, but if you get to Louisiana, it's Leger. Yeah. And so you start seeing they're not ours. It's like Boudreaux. So you see like Leger Automotive and Leger everything. I wish I owned one of them.
Right.
But
that would be nice.
So I got you.
Oh,
I got you.
Yes.
Me and Louisiana.
I'm from right by Baton Rouge,
Okay.
So I know where Crowley is. And you say deep. So is that Raceland, Texas? Is that too deep?
It's no. I don't even know the name of the town. I just know it's.
You just know you're from.
It's Bayou. It's just lots of Bayou. That's what I remember.
Some Jean-Jacques Bonjour.
Oh,
They
so
speak a little.
Here we go.
I couldn't even understand my grandpa growing. He passed away when I was young, but it was just come here, boy. Yes, sir.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
I mean, I've spent time in Paris and France. I thought, I can't wait. I've heard about the food, and I get there, and I'm like, what is this? This is not French food. I'm Cajun French. I'm like, give me a Pappadeaux, give me something creamy.
Yeah.
I digress. Louisiana, I'm here with you. I'm here.
So stop us from talking to each other. Because we will.
Yes,
I'll get lost in that whole thing.
Well, the minute you said Louisiana, I knew we were going here, so it's okay. It's okay.
So I got my start in theater as well. And so, it's such a great place, I think, for anybody to start. You just learn a lot. You learn just about being comfortable in front of a crowd. You get comfortable memorizing lines. You get comfortable in your own skin and learning something. Just doing that's so great.
That's awesome.
But it's so different.
Yes.
Than being in front of the camera.
Yeah.
Like everything, you're like up here in theater, and you just gotta tone it. You have to end up toning it all down, right? So it's like kind of the number one thing where I have to work with, when I'm working with actors who've done primary theater, and most people that's where they've started, whether it's school or community or whatever the case may be, right, is learning how to, I had an acting coach years ago say, because I came from that, they'd always tell me, stop acting. I'm like, stop acting. What do you mean stop acting? I'm an actor. I'm acting. And they're like, stop acting, because everything was big and everything.
Yeah.
And she would just talk to me like this the whole time. So that I would talk back to her like that the whole time, like normal. Yeah. So I just started a conversation because the camera sees everything. It reads all your movements. You tighten your jaw. It reads something. Everything means something. So just learning how to relax and ingest those lines into a point where they are yours. Yeah. They're yours. They're now second nature. And then just give them to us. We talked about this earlier. Spielberg, you know, he doesn't like people. I relate to this. He doesn't like people to rehearse a lot.
Yeah.
He likes to get on there and go. So you get the
authenticity.
you know, self comes out. And really any director who wants to do a collaboration and is not so prima donna about their script, and you can be that way. I get that sometimes. Is
fair way to say it.
You know, is a you know, it's much better collaborative process to do it that way. I love it. I'm like the least prima donna ever. Like I hire actors because I trust in their ability. They got hired for that reason.
And what's so beautiful is you actually came from the acting world and you've seen it all. So you're like an actor's, do we call it this, an actor's director?
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, that's
where
right.
it's like you get exactly. You have the compassionate edge where it's like, oh, I know what you're going through.
Yes.
You know, in the creative realm.
Auditions. I've sat in thousands of auditions. Like I know what it's like. First, as an actor, I've been in an audition. I know what that side is. And that's like, my experiences were not great. You know, most of as an actor, young actor. So I purposed to always be the different type of director and casting director when I was casting, because I don't want to scare the snot out of the actor. You know, I wanted to get who they really were. So it was important for me to make them comfortable, to give us both a shot at seeing what we need to see in this thing, to see if we found the right person.
And I think the hard thing right now is everything is video audition.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you can't get the authenticity that you normally would get in person.
That's true.
Think about this. Almost every in-person audition I book, video, I'm like 20, 80.
Right.
You just don't book
There's
that
something
much.
to be said for that.
I love that you said that because I'm the same way, like everything in person. But what I will say is, you know, for the actor in Texas, I can speak for myself. I don't know. But I was going to Austin like, you know, 2 to 3 times a week, like, you know, driving out there. So in the weirdest, most bizarre way, like that's the underlying, you know, like COVID in that regard was a blessing during the pandemic because here I am. But I would say the booking rate is a little different when you do it electronically versus in person. They see your personality, they get a feel for you. Like when you're online or anytime I do a Zoom one, it's very quick, very in and out because they have to go the next, you know, it's different. But it's a blessing because as an actor, you want to travel when it's paid for. That's the ideal thing. But so it's but I agree. It's like
so just imagine living in Temple, which is kind of central. So 2.5 from San Antonio, 2.5 from Dallas, 2.5 from Houston.
Right.
So just imagine getting in the car, 2.5 hours, getting to an audition, 10 seconds, and getting back in the car and driving home.
I know.
Oh, that's why I'm having the hair out.
That's where that went.
Wow, I think I think there's a blessing in, you know, what COVID did by being able to go digital. But I also say, like, there's something to be said with an environment. Like when so they talk about energy, right?
Sure.
When some people walk into the room just lights up.
Yep.
They didn't even say anything yet.
Yep.
It gets brighter by their presence just coming in. You know, you can. That's the beauty of in person. You change that environment. So they might have you may not have looked the part, but your energy that came in was like, man, we just got to have him. So we just got to have him. I don't know what we're gonna do, but we're gonna have him now because this is what happened when you came in.
Beautifully said.
That's missing. That's why your conversion rates aren't as much because you don't ever get in the room. They can't tell that. That is not something that you capture in a frame. Right. Now I do think there's magic by what the setup is of that frame when you're actually doing, you know, the whole movie. But as far as if I'm building a team, which we have here, super thankful for everybody here. It's the person who walks in. If I just saw them, like an image of them, I'd be like, I don't know. I'm still gonna be like, I don't know if I want them to come. Maybe don't have them come on set like day because that's just us as a core team and we all kind of have a thing going. It's easy. There's a lot of demand on us on these days. So we have to really cohesively be working well together. But if they had walked through the door and they just had good, positive energy, I'm like, oh yeah, they can come. They're not going to be a distraction at all. They're going to be great. You know what I mean? They're going to do something for us here and be a part of it, the culture and stuff like that. So I think that's taken away in the acting world. But I do say, like you're saying, I mean, not having to drive to Austin 3 times a week.
Like living in your car.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Or having to locate somewhere just for the fact that you're hoping to get a call.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Which is what so many do. You know?
Many.
Mm-hmm.
110%.
Wow.
I love that you said the energy thing, because even with any set, I would say the energy that you bring and the energy that surrounds you also heavily influences your performance.
Yes.
You know, like we were literally just talking about this. And I think one of the reasons with, the film that we met on, Confessions, one of the reasons we love it so much is because the energy that was on set was so like everybody was each other's cheerleader. Everybody, everybody was, it was so resonated so beautifully to where when it was time to cry, to laugh, to this, to that, it was just so organic and it was so easy and effortless because you have that beautiful energy and that family dynamic on set, and that really brings out like a stellar performance.
Totally.
Right? So I mean it makes a huge difference. Energy all around. It just but I'm
shaking my head because I totally agree.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been and I won't call anybody's names and I won't say the movie, but I've been in a scene with someone and it's like pulling teeth. And you're like, oh my goodness, give me something.
Yeah. We got to work here together, folks.
There's something to be said for, a lot to be said for just creating a relaxed environment. And that's on a lot of people, right? That's certainly in a set, that certainly has to do with the director, and it certainly has to do with how you run a production. That's a big deal. Like, it really is, you know? I'm reminded of my cousin, Matt Brandon. He was on the show one time. And him and my other cousin, they lived in L.A. for a long time, and that's when I lived out in California, and I was working there quite a lot. And they're just on the grind. You know, auditions, they're actors, and they're just going. And he said something to me that I was like, that is so true, and it's so good. I've never forgot it. And he said that he was talking about the context and the way in which that actors go into auditions and the way that actors do it. So it's like, you know, so much of the time, and I guess this could be safe for a lot of things, but let's just take the acting thing. You know, you can want it so bad that you're desperate. And the desperate thing, I mean, that's good to hunger and want something bad. But it's like when your identity begins to ride on it, then it's dangerous for you. It's just being a healthy person, but it also is not good for you, your audition or the person you're auditioning for, because you're like, you're so, and the way he said it, you remember how he said it? He said a relaxed thing is better than a tense thing.
Oh, that's good.
And it's so simple, but the language is there that it's just like, yes, it is. I mean, you come into that audition, you're like, I don't need this.
Yeah.
I want this. This would be fun. I enjoy this. I want my life to be about being able to do more of this, but I don't need this to be me. I don't need this. I'm gonna leave. I'm gonna walk out of here just as confident as I did walking in here. I'm gonna still be me. Nothing lacking. Nothing. Everything's whole. You know, when you can go into an audition like that, you're gonna give your best performance. You're gonna be your most authentic self, and that director, that casting director, is going to see the real you. And they're going to love it. You have any idea how much I love to see people who come in and you can tell they are comfortable in their own skin.
I love it.
They are comfortable. I was like, and
I love it.
I think the key words you said is comfortable in your own skin. Because you meet so many people that basically what you said, it's the all or nothing mentality.
Right.
And I think in acting and in life, I mean, you get told no so many times. You have to be comfortable with you.
You do.
And I love that I worked a full-time job and I started later in life. And now I thank God so much for the way it unfolded for me. Because it's like, I love acting, but it's not my all in all.
Right.
It's not your identity.
And from playing football in high school and in college, it taught me, hey, get ready so you don't have to, be ready so you don't have to get ready when you go into the audition.
That's good.
And so it's practicing, it's reading, it's doing scripts, it's memorizing, it's staring in the mirror and people in your house like, what are you doing? But it's like, no, I'm doing this for a purpose.
Yeah.
And I love, I'll be quick. Another thing you said is used to always play the good guy, the pastor, the policeman, just the real nice guy. And a director told me he had I can talk about that film because it's an older film, but it's The Place We Hide, and it can be found on Amazon Prime. But it was a total opposite role than I ever would play because I don't cuss. And there are certain things I'm not going to do on set. And he was like, Skeeta, I didn't give you this role for that. I gave you the role to push you. And you need to get out of your comfort zone and do this. And I was like, I read the script and I was like, man, I can't do this. And he was like, no, you have to do it. So I did it. And one thing you said, the script, and I said, hey, could you keep the camera running for this certain scene? Because I just want to see what happened. And it was a scene where my character, he's abusive, so he chokes his wife and he kills her. Oh, I don't want to give the show away.
Oh, well, there you go, folks.
I did. But, so I did my lines and he kept the camera running. And I get up off the floor, he paces and he looks down at her body and say, look what you made me do. And that comes from the work I do. And I'm like, think about it. Abusers, they don't blame themselves.
Yeah.
Right.
He pointed the blame, and he said everybody that edited the film was like, who is this dude? And I was like, he was like, where did that come from? I say, but that's what happened when you just get in the moment and be yourself. And you don't know what's going to come out of it. And
so good.
It came out because everybody that watched the film was like, dude, you scared me.
I love it.
Oh, because that just shows the dementedness of that. Like, I love that stuff as a director, that collaborative, like where everybody's throwing in. Like, even if you're using it, you don't use it, you got it all out there.
I love it.
That's awesome.
I love it.
I love it.
What's your favorite film?
My favorite film?
Yeah.
I like this interview. You.
I say doctor's interview. I like it. I like it.
This is kind of a rare thing for me to get a question, right? Well, I think I have a couple of different, but I really love The Blind Side.
Ooh.
Yes.
Yeah, that film. But I think I like films for different reasons.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So there's a bunch of different films if you're just going super artistic or if you're going for a message or a purpose or, but I mean, if I was going to say one kind of just on one that I believe strongly in or can relate to would be The Blind Side.
I knew you were going to say
love that. I love
I can see you as these two.
I get that a lot. Yes.
You love those real people stories.
It's beautiful.
You love the whole positive, all that side of it.
Teaching to see from somebody else's perspective.
I love
being
that.
kind. Being kind to other people. And, it's, I say Mrs. Tooley carried that film.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, it's Sandra Bullock, so let's be real.
Yeah.
Okay. But her character carried that film and the lessons that you could learn from her character. And I think for a good film, I mean, if we're just talking, I love Now You See Me, Now You Don't. Okay. I just love those strategic, fun, like the magic that they're all doing. I'm trying to figure out what are they going to try to like ploy next, in their magic kind of way. So I like those type films where you try to figure something out.
Like keeps you on your toes and like
Divergent. I love the Divergent series. But they're all for probably different reasons.
Yeah.
You have the love stories, but my favorite is at the end of the day, if as a studio and something, we're taking a film to market March 4th and 5th that I've picked up. And
I love it.
yeah, and part of it is anything that I touch, I really hope at the end of it, one, you've been entertained. I hope you've been thoroughly entertained and hear a great story. But I hope your perspective has changed on something.
That's good.
Like that you have a different perspective on whatever you were entertained by. you know, and I think in Blindside, it challenged you and it gave you a different perspective that maybe not the average person saw.
Yeah.
I love that.
And for that, I like that. So,
Teaches
a
humanity.
little deep there, but there you go.
It's
No, that was
beautiful.
awesome.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
I
Beautiful,
love it. Wow.
Yeah.
No, that's great.
Completely.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So what's yours?
Oh, you're gonna laugh, but I'm a big Tombstone fan.
Oh,
Really?
Come on, man.
Awesome. I didn't
That's
know
only
that.
the best Western
Oh, my
movie ever
goodness,
made,
yeah.
ever.
Uh-huh.
I can
Yeah.
watch it over and over
Over.
and over
That's
Yeah.
great.
and over and over.
Yeah.
What
Oh my God, I love
what
it.
about that film?
I just love the the characters and
Yeah.
it's so. But
Doc
the favorite
Holliday.
is Doc Holliday.
Oh,
I mean,
come on, man. Oh,
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's my favorite.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
And you know,
Love it.
I look at films that we were talking about this the other day about how storytelling has changed over
Mhm.
time and the movies that are being told today versus, you know, even 50 years ago. And then what makes a movie legendary, what stays around for a really long time.
Mhm.
You know, what impact, what do those films have that are different than all the other films, right? What is in that story?
I think the pictures from back then, they kind of touched on almost all the senses. And what I mean by that is that you got great visual, you felt something, you were able to take something away and go out in the yard and kind of do it like Rocky. I mean,
Yeah.
Rocky
yeah.
touched the good visual,
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
felt it in the heart.
Yep.
But after it, I remember me and my cousins.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
You wanted to emulate
Yes.
what you
Yes.
saw.
Yes.
Wow.
You know,
Wow.
they stuck around.
No, and I totally agree. I would also say, like, I stick to this. Like, people don't care as much how much you know,
No.
unless they know how much you care.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Fact.
yes.
Yep.
So to me, it's like it goes back to the feeling of what you are feeling and witnessing. Does it make you feel? Does that movie? Does that, you know? Does it give you some insight to something like you were speaking of, like, you know, addressing or serving humanity, really, because you're touching senses, right? You said it, like it's beautiful in that aspect, but it's like when something makes you feel and relatable to the human within us all, then I feel like that was something that was very, very prominent for years, and I you know, little by little you see it come back, but there was the 90s, I feel like had a pretty good role, pretty strong hold on getting you to tap in. But you know, but
You know,
very much so.
they say, and I don't know the exact percentage what it is, but they say that you'll only remember small percentage of what somebody says.
7%.
7%.
Yeah.
But
Wow.
you will remember how they made you feel.
Absolutely.
Yep.
110%.
And Maya Angelou has a quote. She said, "People forget what you say, what you do, but they never forget how you make them feel."
Yep.
Never.
It's true.
She sure does.
That's
And
true.
the biggest one of them all is, I mean, it's biblical. Treat others like you want to be treated. And whether you are the biggest actor or the smallest actor on the set, it's you treat people with respect.
Yeah.
And I've seen some people, basically, that's one of the things that gets under my skin. I've had to go to someone and say, I don't care who you are. You're not going to talk to me that way.
Right.
And you shouldn't be talking to no one else that way.
Right.
And that person respected me. They was like, how'd you get him? Because he knew from Jump Street that I'm not going to stand there and watch you treat people wrong.
Yeah.
Amen.
You could fire me off the set, do what you have to do. But it's the least we can do
Totally.
is treat people with respect.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yep.
And I
Yeah.
think it
Love
gets back to energy as well. You know, working on sets, you have those sets that have much less, you know, gossip, negativity, and the ego is you know, is less. You know, I get attracted to working with the same individuals that bring that light, that don't bring the gossip, that egos put aside. You know, everyone's working it together, and that I feel like that creates a masterpiece.
Yeah.
I feel like you can see the difference
Oh,
between,
yes.
you know, like when I watch like works that I've done and I notice, you know, the successful, you know, it's interesting because it does end up playing out. You know, you put it into the energy in which you are residing in. I do believe, I do
Mhm.
feel that way. But
Totally.
but putting that ego aside and just being pure-hearted
Well,
makes a huge difference.
If you look at acting at its finest is a tremendous amount of vulnerability,
Yes,
Oh my goodness,
absolutely.
yes.
right?
110%.
Okay, so
Very
if we're
empathic
looking
feels-
if we're looking at vulnerability lives where there's safety.
Ooh,
Yes.
that's good.
Vulnerability lives where there is a community that fosters understanding and openness with a sense of safety. So if you have a lot of gossip, if you have a lot of ego, if you have a lot of backstabbing, if you have a lot of that going on, there is no room for vulnerability on
Ooh.
set.
Sure.
So you're
New
Right.
recordings,
Or,
right?
I mean,
Yes.
you can,
Oh,
yes.
yes, because people need to hear that.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. No,
Oh,
absolutely.
Yeah.
my goodness.
Yeah.
You know what you know what I will say on that. I was watching something with Jennifer Aniston and Sebastian Stan, and they were talking about bring your life to work, in the essence of, you know, okay, let's say there is a negative situation. I will say, I can be the first one. I can be the first one to say, if I get less sleep and I don't eat, my you know, my you know, I'm a little bit more
A
irritable.
little cranky.
A little cranky. I mean, I can just shoot those tears a little quicker. So it just, you know, so I totally agree on happy sets.
Yeah.
Ooh, you want that, you want to just in general, you want lightness. But worst case scenario, channel it. You know, I will say
Yeah.
it's a therapy. Being in the film, it's therapy. Being in
Yeah.
film, it's constantly, it's moving with your emotions. It's when you hold on to emotions and you're not able to release them is when there's difficulty within.
Mhm.
So being able to live and feel and be able to stem it out is so important to release. And I think it's such a therapeutic work that we do.
Mhm.
I think I can speak for, you know, how I
Yeah.
feel, but I
Well,
do
it
believe
would
that.
have to be for you to be able to be so vulnerable in that character. So you're having to go to that. Okay, let's just take people in general. If we just polled people in general, how many of you think we would go out into the street and go like, how vulnerable could you be in 5 minutes from now? Like, I just met you, so 5 minutes from now, I need you to be completely vulnerable with me. They're gonna be like, are you crazy?
Yeah.
Have you lost your mind? Like, I'm not vulnerable with anybody, maybe my spouse occasionally, right? Vulnerability is something we're not real great at as a society in general.
Agreed.
Then if you're judged on your vulnerability on top of that
Mhm.
as, you know, talent, that's why I think Kelly has been such a great director. Kelly ushers in an environment that breeds vulnerability
That's good.
Love that.
because of his willingness to just sit and be kind and patient, but very clear and directive with boundaries. Boundaries show that part of the reason why you don't want people to talk bad to somebody else. There's clearly no boundary there.
Yeah.
Boundaries breed a safe environment.
Agreed.
So when everybody knows where the boundary is, everybody's free.
And
Absolutely.
like you said, it starts from the top.
Yep.
Because if the
Yeah.
director's doing it, it just flows from there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Totally.
Everybody else.
We-
Set the tone.
And we have fostered that kind of thing on production sets for decades. Like my producers, cinematographers that I work with regularly. Like I know I've walked on sets before, and there's one guy who we haven't worked at the grip, or some guy who's just like, and like halfway through the day, the cinematographer's like, he just comes up, he goes, "I'm sorry, you don't have to say it. He won't be back tomorrow." I know. And I'm just like, good.
I got
Good.
it.
Because
I read your mind.
we are so protective
Yeah.
That's good.
of the
though.
environment. Like this
Yeah,
is our
yeah.
lives. We're going to work
Yeah.
on production sets day in and day out, and not be a safe place or a place you don't want to work in and thrive. Forget about it.
Well, and you know that's
Like-
where the best work's going to reside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for the benefit of everyone involved, it's not that anybody wants to be a jerk,
Mhm,
okay?
mhm.
It's for the sheer fact of everybody wins when the culture is
Yes.
this
I
way.
love
Yeah.
that.
And
Yes,
so if
110%.
not, we're doing everybody a disservice. That's why I've always said this sounds a little harsh of me, but I have no problem firing people. But that's because I
Yes.
make it pretty clear
Yeah.
of the environment that we
That's
have.
good.
And if you want to rise to that, you've always got an opportunity here. But if you don't, I have no problem telling you because I've already set the boundary for it.
Yeah.
So
Right.
essentially, you fired yourself. Like
Right.
I didn't
Agreed.
have to fire. I mean, I'm the one actually having to say,
Yeah.
you know, we're not going to ask you to come back tomorrow, but you kind of did that to yourself.
Mhm.
So I like
Yeah.
to, but then again, that goes to boundaries and communication and
Absolutely.
fostering environment that somebody walks into, you know, and
Well,
that's
You could see everything as a problem, or you could see everything as like, how are we going to solve
Fix
it?
it.
I love it
I have
as a solution.
assistant directors I've worked with in the past, like very short time. and the whole day they think their job is to tell you that you're not going to make your day. You're not going to make your day. And all day they're walking around, we're not going to make our day. We're not going to. I'm like, you're not going to make your day. You are not going to make the day, buddy. And it lasted about 2 days. I'm like, I can't have it. I'll be my own AD before I have a AD walk because he's not helping her.
Well, and I'm a firm believer. You keep putting it out there in the air, it's gonna come true.
Oh,
and so when it don't,
right
it's like
blame the
Bring it to reality. Bring it to reality.
I love it.
Yeah, well, I think it's just so much of this industry. Part of the reason why we started the podcast was to tell inspiration stories of the entertainment industry. To inspire, to be a light, to be good. There is a lot of good that happens in this industry.
Goodness, yes.
Oh, yeah.
There's so much good. But unfortunately, a lot of what we hear is all the bad.
Yeah.
And how do we teach those to be the good?
It's like I heard this analogy of this professor. He wrote 9 times 1 is 9, 9 times 2 is 18, all the way to 9 times 11. But 9 times 10, he put 91. And then the kids start laughing. And he said, what are y'all laughing at? You wrote 9 times 1, it's 91, and it's not. And he says, that's interesting to me. He said, I did 9 problems right, and the only one you picked was the one I did wrong. Mm-hmm. And think about it, in society, you can do 100 things right. Mm-hmm. What do you think people going to call y'all on?
Always.
The one thing you mess up on, and it's like, man, we need to just change our focus.
It's true.
Yeah.
When I see, when I wake up in the morning and I look at the news and it says there's a 30% chance of rain, I don't get the umbrella because there's a 70% chance it ain't going to rain.
Yeah.
You just have to change the way you look at things sometimes.
You can also use it against all those people too. On social media, sometimes when we're promoting whatever we're promoting, well, I don't know. Let's just say we're talking about Katy Perry. And we're like, I don't know, we're talking about Katy Perry, and we start talking about her, but instead of putting Katy Perry's image up, we put Billie Eilish's image up. And you don't even make mention of it. You just keep talking about it like it's Katy Perry. What is everybody thinking? That's not Katy Perry. That's not Katy Perry. And so guess what happens? Everybody starts commenting. I'm like, thank you for commenting. You're helping the algorithm. Or you intentionally misspell one word in your caption or in your title. And everybody started, I'm like, yes, we did. Thank you for helping the algorithm. Keep going, I'm like, do it.
Right.
We do it on purpose.
I'm using it. That's pretty cool.
At first I did that. First we did it by accident. I'm like, oh, darn. But we can't delete it because if I delete it, that hurts the algorithm. And then I realized, wait a minute, all these people are commenting on the fact that we misspelled. I'm like, I'm gonna misspell a lot of stuff. Keep going.
Now you see the secret.
Yeah, that's right.
That's pretty cool.
That's hilarious.
Anyway, listen, I
so true.
hate to be the bearer of bad news here, but
I know. We sit with good friends and we never want it to end. And I don't know what we're going to do when we go to TV series size.
I know.
That's like cutting us off even more.
I know,
right? But it is time to come. The time to say goodbye.
Time to say goodbye. We need a goodbye song. We need to write a goodbye song.
Right.
I'll let you sing that. Wait, we have a singer.
Oh,
Oh, man. Goodbye, baby, goodbye.
Just
you got it. Yeah.
look at that.
goodbye.
Look at no, I'm not even.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
I would.
I'm going to let y'all two do it.
That's right. Thank you. I would have to pay some royalties to Kermit if I sang. Wait, fun fact before we close.
Amazing.
Who do you think has, fun fact, me and my little fun facts. Okay. Who do you think has the largest estate sold to date out of all the famous people, of all the famous, estate?
Like their sum
Like
total.
their sum total of their image,
property,
their
their
estates,
everything.
like everything.
Okay.
Their image estates.
I'm going to go. Do I get to guess?
Yes, I like it.
Elvis Presley.
Good, close. Nope.
Dang
Close. No, I'm going to think about it. I was going to say Tom
Is
Cruise,
it-
but I don't know.
Is it Justin Timberlake?
No.
Oh.
We're thinking more. Okay, hold on.
Okay,
More Presley time?
Yep, you're okay. I'm just gonna tell you,
Okay,
you're not gonna get it. It's Kermit the Frog.
Oh my
Yes.
God.
Really?
$679 million was his estate sold for.
Oh
His
my
estate like
goodness.
he's a real
Smokes.
person. You're saying it like he's a real person.
He is. He is an image of a state, and he
That's
sold for
remarkable.
more
Whoa.
than
Oh
Michael
my
Jackson,
goodness.
Elvis Presley,
Remarkable.
Marilyn Monroe, all of them.
I see.
Kermit the Frog.
Nice.
Kermit the Frog here.
Wow.
Yes, see, there it is. There it is.
That's-
There it is. Okay, fun fact for
There
today.
you go.
Wow.
Well, guys, thank you so much for sitting with us.
Yes.
This has been so fun, so
Thanks for having
great.
us.
Thanks for coming back. We welcome you here
In a
anytime.
heartbeat.
And thank you for coming and
Yo-
sitting with us today.
Y'all made
and-
my day, especially
share.
dropping the nuggets.
That's right.
Oh, so good, so good. And Kelly, welcome over to the
Yes.
good side over here. You left the dark side and came to the good side, and I like it.
It's not easy being green. Dark, whatever.
Okay, that's enough for today. Y'all, thanks, and
Mic drop.
we'll see you on the other side.